Hey, everybody, and welcome to Making Sales Social, coming to you from the Social Sales Link Virtual Studios. And yes, we are live today. So we got that going on, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. So, with that, I'm Bob Woods. Bryn Tillman is off, but Stan Robinson Jr. is here. How you doing, Stan?
Hey, fabulous. How you doing, Bob?
Doing very good. Doing very good. Thank you. So if you're like us here at Social Sales Link, you probably ask yourself this on the daily. How do I stay visible and valuable on LinkedIn when I barely have time to respond to emails and messages, take calls, do meetings, put out the 10,000 fires that come along at us every day, and create LinkedIn content all at the same time? Well, that's what today's episode is about. We have a free ebook that details how to do it at socialsaleslink.com/slash LinkedIn content. That's all one word, socialsaleslink.com/slash LinkedIn content. I thought I could slow that ticker is actually flying by right now. There we go.
Oh, okay, you
You
can.
gotta adjust things sometimes. So there it is, socialsaleslink.com/slash LinkedIn content. If you're with us live right now, you can see that URL is there as well as the QR code up there as well. So we're going to discuss what's in the ebook. The ebook specifically, though, is really important because there are 3 AI prompts that we're not going to talk about specifically because reading AI prompts on the during an episode is a guaranteed death for that episode. So we're not going to do that. But these will be right in front of you. You can take screenshots and upload them to your favorite LLM and use them and do all that type of stuff with that. So, you know, these prompts and everything that we're going to tell you are really helpful, Stan, because I know you're like me, and like I said at the top, content is definitely not a quick thing to do.
Yep, very, very true. And for those who are in sales or business development, time is always a challenge. So it's kind of overwhelming to think about creating your own content, writing a blog post, creating an infographic on your own. And that's where curated content can really help because you can still provide value to your audience by sharing content that's relevant for them, but then it's been created by someone else. And of course, you give full credit to the creator, and we'll talk a little bit about that going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So this isn't you sit down, you're staring at a blank piece of paper, or a blank screen slash piece of paper, however you want to frame it in your own mind, going, "Oh God, what am I going to write about?" This is based on things and content that has already been written. And like Stan said, we're going to be talking about how you can do that to kind of put your stamp on things, as well as to get other people to start conversations with you based on that content that comes from someone else or another organization or whatever. So, Stan, with that, I think the first question is what type of content should you curate? And this is about curating, not how about curate, not create? Although you are creating a little bit, but curate, not create. That's not bad, at least. You may have to workshop that a little bit.
Yep, yep. And we say curating content just because it's a short and fancy way of saying sharing other people's content that's already
Mhm.
been created. So you're kind of like a curator in a museum selecting the best pieces of content. But one of the keys is that the content is relevant for your specific audience. So it has to provide value for them. One good thing about curated content is that uh, it's not promotional of you by definition because someone else has created it. So, two things. One, the content needs to be relevant for your audience. And so the other side is picking sources of that content that's relevant for your audience. In the best of all worlds, your own prospects, your own clients, the content that they've created, as long as it's relevant to a broader audience, that is ideal content to share with a broader audience, as long as it's relevant for them, because you're doing a few things. You're supporting your clients or prospects by sharing their content, which helps them gain visibility. And it also provides value to your audience, and it makes you more visible. Another big group of people are influencers or industry figures, again, in the industry that's relevant for your audience. So sharing their content um, with your audience, because it'll provide value for your audience as well. And we'll talk more about adding your own value to it. You don't just reshare a post without any comments. You always want to let your audience know why you feel the content that you're sharing would be of value to them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to get into next, and what you should say in your reposted content. So, LinkedIn has a feature at the bottom of every post that says, appropriately enough, repost. When you click on that, you get two choices. One is, and this wording may not be exactly right, but it's the essence of it, repost with your own thoughts. And the other one is essentially just repost. Again, I forget what the exact language is there, but when you click on the second one, it just posts it to it just posts it without any comment or any type of thought leadership building. You don't want to do that one. You want to do that first one, repost with content or comment, or like I said, what the
Yeah,
heck ever
with
it says.
thoughts.
Yeah. So yeah, good. So, the easiest thing you can do is to share a takeaway you had from the content, and and yes, and why you think your takeaway would be a key insight for your audience. So, if you want to start out with something really simple, you would type whatever. This is just an example. This post by Mary Smith explains why it's important for sales leaders to make time to coach their sales reps. Her suggestion on how to use call recordings effectively was particularly helpful. For more insights, check out her post below. So that's an example of sharing a takeaway. You can go one bit deeper with adding a tip or a tidbit that goes beyond what was originally said. So we're going to take a little chunk of that paragraph I just wrote. Mary's suggestion about how to effectively use call recordings was particularly helpful. You can even feed the recording to AI to get a transcript and then ask for suggestions on what to do better during the call, if you made any mistakes, so on. So that actually gives you an opportunity to add a bit of your own thought leadership there. I think that those are especially helpful. And as you just heard me say, it took what, like maybe 15, 20 seconds to read all that out loud, maybe another 5 seconds for that little tidbit there. It's not a lot. You don't have to do a lot here, just enough to get conversation started there. So, again, resharing LinkedIn content, it's really easy to do. And I forget if you mentioned this, Stan, but you can use like Google Alerts, industry magazines, and things like that to also reshare content that comes from outside of LinkedIn, which is not the big deal that it used to be in terms of the algorithm 360 brew, things like that. While it is easier to come across something on LinkedIn and click that repost and things like that, it takes like an additional step or two to reshare from the outside. You're not going to get knocked like you used to, especially if you find something really good that you think your audience will find truly useful. And again, call out a certain point, add a little bit of your own thought leadership there, and you've got a really good reshare going at that point.
Yeah, great point about also bringing in content from outside LinkedIn. LinkedIn does make it super easy to share from right within LinkedIn with the repost option.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, repost with your thoughts, and then the one below it just says repost. So avoid the bottom one, just use the top one. Uh,
Yeah.
For content outside of LinkedIn, you could use a tool like, I know you can do this with ChatGPT, is just have it set a task for it to go find relevant content for you and deliver it to you on a daily or weekly basis, whatever time frame you choose.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great point. That's a great point there. So, what else should we be saying in our content that we are specifically reposting?
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to tag the person whose content you're reposting, just to make sure that they get notified and they notice that you're actually expanding their visibility by helping to share their content. And if it is a prospect and say you're not connected to them already, if you tag them and they engage with your repost, perfect opportunity to say, hey, I enjoyed your post. Thanks for jumping into the discussion on uh, my repost of your post, so to speak. And I'd love to connect on LinkedIn if you're open to it. So you can send that to them in an invitation. Perfect opportunity to connect with them, and also an opportunity just to engage with anyone else who engages with your repost. Because if they're engaging with it, it's likely to be relevant for them. You can have a quick peek at their profile. If they're not already connected to you and if they're relevant for you, either as a prospect, a potential referral source, potential partner, you can easily reach out to them to connect, send them an invitation, just saying, hey, thank you for engaging. Love to connect if you're open to it. So those are just a few thoughts in terms of how you can kind of get more mileage out of reposts by taking every available opportunity to engage.
Yeah,
Bob,
and yeah, and actually, if that person who commented on your post is a first degree, that's even that's even better. I mean, because you can open up communications with that person instantaneously just through a direct message within LinkedIn. And obviously, depending on what's said and things like that, you may even be able to get a conversation started just based on what that person commented on, whatever your post was, and you have that second degree barrier removed. You can get one, excuse me, potentially started. Well, not like a finger snap, but almost like a finger snap. It comes pretty close to that, depending on when they see your message. And because they've commented on something, it means that they care about it or they had enough of a thought to write something down. So there's some interest there. Why not take advantage of that?
yep, so true. Particularly since, well, I know I'm guilty of this, I'll speak for myself. I have a lot of people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn that I haven't had a conversation with in a very long time, much too long. And if someone
Mhm.
like that jumps into the discussion to make a comment, Bob, as you mentioned, it's a great opportunity just to reconnect and see what they're up to, because good things can, always come out of reconnecting, just staying in touch with people.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing truly bad. The worst thing that could happen is they don't reply back.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine. So, but as long as they stay connected to you, if you put out another post and then they comment on that, then that's two. They're probably more interested, and your chances of potentially getting a second conversation with them, I think, go up even more at that point. And also keep in mind that when people comment on your post, those people will see subsequent posts of yours as well. The algorithm will, or 360 Brew, which, is it an algorithm? Is it an algorithm? We could probably do a show just on that alone. But 360 Brew will pop your content in their feeds more once they, definitely when they comment, I believe even when they like. or like or have some type of reaction there. So that's another reason why you want to really encourage commenting and things like that, because there is safety in numbers. Remember that it's tougher for a person to comment when there's zero comments or just one or two comments than if there are like even five or six or something like that. There is kind of safety in numbers when it just from a mental standpoint of the person who might want to comment. If if there's more of a conversation going on there already, it's kind of like a networking event at that point. Do you want to go up to the person who's standing there alone, or do you want to join a crowd that's already having conversation?
Yep. Yep.
It's been
Very
a
true.
long time since I used that too. Wow, but it is true. It's absolutely true. Yeah, without a doubt.
It is very true. Yes, and a lot of us are spending more time at in-person networking events these days. Um,
Thank God.
one other tip that applies to content that you curate, which also applies to original content, is that you can share it directly with individuals in your network.
Yep.
So once you've posted it, you can hit the little envelope, I believe it is,
Yep.
and hit send and send it to specific people that you feel that it would be of interest to. And it's another great way to reconnect with people and to add value to them.
Yeah, and you can even blind copy people as well. You can create a group of up to 10 people. I would send them individually. You do, rather than have it create a group of people to have a conversation. When you click that option that says send individually, you don't get that group. You do lose the opportunity to say, hey John, hey Sarah, whatever, because it is being blind copy sent to 10 different people, so you can't really say that. But if you really want to get it to a lot of people and you want to do it a little more efficiently, and you don't mind not having the person's name up there, then that's an option that you have. Otherwise, if you're sending it individually, definitely individualize it, even just with their name, if nothing else.
Yep, exactly, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, go ahead, Stan.
No, so I was just gonna encourage folks to take advantage of curated content. It takes you a little bit of time just to identify, outside of your prospects and clients, which are pretty straightforward, other potential sources of content that you can curate on a regular basis. But once you've identified those sources and you bookmark them, makes it easy for you to come back to them. You don't have to recreate the wheel each time. You can just go to the same bookmark, look at whose content makes sense to share, and then see what's current that you would like to share with people.
Yeah, I would just make sure that you trust the content that's coming out of these places, because as we all know, you know, everything that's on the internet is true, and we know that that statement is false. So, just keep that in mind as well. Use sources that you trust, not sales compare conspiracytheory.com or something like that. And and just go from them. I mean, because you are attaching your name to these sources when you do repost them. So, it's kind of like the old mobster gangster movies. You vouch for somebody when they come in. If they screwed up, they get popped and you get popped too.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
same type of thing, generally speaking, you're not going to get popped, but that same type of thinking does apply to curated content when you're curating from someone else or from an organization or whatever.
yeah. Very true. Very true. So you're borrowing some of their credibility when you repost their content. Just make sure you read it first, and as we've been harping on, add your thoughts to it.
Mhm.
Don't just repost it without your thoughts.
So you're borrowing some of their credibility, and yet you are putting your credibility with them as well. So there is kind of a two-way street there. So keep all that in mind. But trust me, folks, it is easier to do it like that, you're bringing in someone else's voice into your feed, which people may not have known about or whatever. So you're giving them more exposure, and it's just it's all good basically. I can't. As long as you do it right, follow along with the ebook, use prompts that are in the ebook, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. You're golden.
Yep. Good deal.
So with that, let's get back into the ebook for just a second. It's at socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn content, socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn content. All of those words are one word, no dashes or anything like that. And just to wet your whistle, the actual prompts cover finding relevant articles to share. That's pretty darn clear on what that does. Writing posts to introduce curated content, ditto there. And then creating follow up contents to restart conversations. This one is really good. This goes beyond the basics because obviously, when people comment on your reshares, you're going to want to go in and recomment. But there is going to be a point where comments are going to go down. It just happens. I mean, that's just the way things. That's just how the commenting ball bounces there. So this one though helps you reignite conversations with a curated post when that engagement starts to decline. The prompt will help you reframe the topic of the post with a fresh insight or a fresh question that will give it a boost without repeating the original content. And I think that that part's very important because a lot of time when people do this kind of thing, they don't put thought into exactly what it is they're going to say, and they just end up saying the same thing over and over and over again. With this, you're asking AI to help you out thinking of that insider question because you may not be able to think of one, but trust me, AI will come up with options for you.
Yeah, that is a fabulous use of AI because a lot of times it's hard to think of another angle to the discussion, but that's what AI tools are perfect for.
Ideation, baby. That's what it's all about. So the ebook again is at socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn content. If you have anything else, Stan, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm gonna line this up over the runway and bring it in for a landing.
I think we're good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we really appreciate you joining us here today on Making Sales Social Live. We're here live every week, Mondays at 12:30 Eastern Time here in the US. Whatever that is for your time, it's the same thing. So put a block on your calendar for us. We'd appreciate that. Now, if you're listening to this as a recording on our podcast and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button. It really doesn't hurt. Trust me, I've done it before. So that you'll be alerted to all of our shows when they come up in the future and previous ones as well. And likes and comments are always welcome there as well. Besides these LinkedIn live episodes, we also interview leaders and experts in sales, marketing, business, many, many more areas that we basically guarantee that you'll enjoy. So catch those as well. Socialsaleslink.com/podcast if you want more information on our podcast. And I'm going to join you on this one, Stan, just because it sounds kind of weird when one person does it. So when you're out and about this week and every week, be sure to make your sales
Social.
It's been so long since I've done that. That felt really good. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
tee us up.
Have
Thanks.
a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.